Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cricket Talks. I'm joined by Harry, who's a YouTuber from Australia, and it's wonderful to have you on. How are you going?
I'm good, Ethan. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. It's good to have you on as a guest. So, this Ashes series has been a massive series. What is your take on it?
Well, first test, I thought Australia played really well, getting England out for 147. I was pretty impressed with that. I thought we batted well, and then I thought we just played great all-round cricket.
It continued the form, if you know what I mean. Like it just,
yeah, just didn't stop.
Yeah, I'll make an observation for you right here, right now. England, they were saying after the third test, "Oh, I can't wait for the second one. We're going to win this one." Guess what? They lose. Third test, so same thing about that third test, and they get absolutely tonked. Scotty Boland Day. What's your take on Scotty Boland's spell? Do you think that's a bit of luck in there? Do you think it's all skill? Like, how has he gotten that? He's like the worst of the fast bowlers, and then he's gotten a really good score. How has that happened?
Yeah, well, in his first innings, I thought, well, you got, what was it, 1 for 48, something like that. Yeah, I thought, oh no, the selectors have made a bad decision in choosing him. But then I was like, in his second innings, when he got two wickets in his over, I was like, oh, I'm good on him like that. And then obviously ended with 6 for 7. So I was impressed. The selectors must have been impressed. Pat Cummins was definitely impressed.
Around the grounds, just quickly, the Big Bash League now. Here we go. So the Thunder, they beat the Scorchers. So you see here it was Sam Billings a lot. Like, what do you make of this performance?
Well, obviously you've got to play well, and you can see that he's gone over a run of ball, nearly has a strike rate of 200, which is very impressive.
Sam Billings, yeah, he's been international star. There's been a lot of interviews about him. While England are being smashed in the Ashes, he's hitting these type of innings. So, do you reckon? Do you reckon he could be playing in the Ashes or something at some point?
To be honest, I don't think so, because I reckon keep their squad because they've already lost the Ashes and
few bowlers that have given away a few too many runs. Yes, Marsh got a couple of wickets there, Mitchell Marsh, but still definitely 2 for 50. So economy, what are they doing wrong, do you think, the Scorchers?
I don't think they're bowling in the right areas, in the right length. Like I've noticed a few on the leg stump and leg side, which you can't be bowling that in BBL. And Andrew Tye, obviously the leading wicket taker for the BBL, has been bowling very well. Other than that, it's just probably the line and length.
Yeah, so I just loaded up the statistics here. Averages 21 with the ball in T20 internationals. He's capable of doing well. So there's no excuses, if that makes sense with you. A couple other games, India, South Africa. I noticed a lot of good batting from India. KL Rahul, Mayank Agarwal. What is the key to these batsmen? What's the key to success? Like, you can see the depth in their side. Do you think that there's more to it for South Africa being so far behind?
I looked at the scorecard this morning and I noticed that their high score was 50. That was their high score from one of their players. I forgot who it was, sorry.
It was Temple Vuma. And he's an all-rounder as well, so the actual main batsmen aren't being used correctly. Yeah.
And I noticed their first batsman only got 1 run, so obviously the opening batsmen have to have an average of over 50. Like that is a good average for opening batsmen. 3 and 4 as well over 50. So the top 4. Yeah, anything past that can. Well, obviously the bowlers, it's not their job to make the runs, you know. It's the other people's jobs. If South Africa, they've just got to find a way to make more runs without getting out.
There's a lot of fresh young names like Keegan Peterson and Rassie van der Dussen. They're quite young. So do you feel what pressure they're under? Like people like Dean Elgar, who's the captain, he gets out for 1. That chain morale hits South Africa, doesn't it? The current probability is India 47% and a good chance of a draw because there's been a lot of rain, and South Africa down at the bottom. So just have to see what happens. They're currently 1 for 16. Rightio.
Mm-hmm.
Now back to the Ashes again. So the bowlers, what did you make of them, Harry? For both teams.
Well, England, they were definitely bowling quite short. I reckon Jimmy Anderson bowled very well because he always bowls well, but he got Warner out, Smith out. Wood, he got Abshane out, so that's a big wicket for England. The Aussies, they bowled great length, great line. They just bowled great. Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting. So that innings from Harris, if it was Usman Khawaja, do you think he would have matched? Do you reckon Usman Khawaja would have made that many runs? Do you think he's in that type of form, or do you reckon it's just Harris needed it and he got it just in time? Like, how would have it equalised, do you think?
Well, I haven't watched Usman Khawaja in a while back because I didn't really watch the Marsh Cup because it was on during school time and so I couldn't really watch it, so I didn't get to watch much of it. From what I have seen of him back, he is capable of making big scores. But if Marcus Harris didn't make that score, then they would have swapped him out for Usman Khawaja or someone else that would make a bigger score, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. And now that Australia already have the Ashes 3-0. Do you think they're going to experiment with a few more interesting players? Because you could see players like Richardson and Nessa, Scotty Boland, those three, they aren't going to get much of a chance because of Hazelwood, Stark, and Cummins. So you think about it, shouldn't they just swap it around a bit and give them a chance so that the high-level bowlers are back for the one-day series later on?
Well, to be honest, if I was captain, I would give other people a chance because we've already won the Ashes, So now it's just kind of like more of a scratch match now, or like for example, England to see if they can do better. So I would definitely give Usman Khawaja a go, and Richardson. I'll put him back in for maybe Hazelwood, and I'll just rotate the order a bit. I'll still keep like some of the good players like Labuschagne and Cummings, but I'll just give other people a go. Just chuck some other people in, see how they do. Yeah.
Very, very. You'd be a very good selector. You should be like the new team selector, right? We have a new thing in cricket where there's been like a lot of people in the last few years where people have been retiring innings and all that. Where do you think should be the line where they say, hang on a minute, people should be given like a higher opportunity to bat? Because what I've noticed, right, is you have teams of 10 district players and they're dominating everyone when there's a team of one district player and they're made to retire. So there's no even contest. So having uneven contests in club cricket, do you think that's leading to people not being experienced enough to be able to play higher levels? Do you think? What do you notice?
In my games, my team, we are second on our ladder, but that's because we've had one bye and one loss from another good team. If I was to go for the team on the bottom of the ladder, they've got one good all-rounder, which is Isaac, and one good batsman, and that's pretty much. And then they've just got rest not so great players.
Just doing it for fun.
But if my team, we have one great all-rounder district player.
Yeah.
And then the rest are just very, very close to making it to districts. And then we just have that, I don't know, one or two kids that are more like test players, They just take their time to make the runs.
I find that, in club cricket, there's a lot of players that need to, I think they should have like, when you get to about 14, 15, just a one-off sort of test match that goes over 3 or 4 Sundays kind of thing. Because if you can squeeze in 70 overs in 4 hours, then you could probably do 4 days of cricket over 4 weeks, just like in March, April for those that don't make the finals, because that's where you find all those players. Because what's going to happen is they'll never get discovered by the Australian Cricket Board or anything. But if they're given the opportunity, then maybe they might make a lot of runs and they're not chipping the ball. So what I observe in club cricket, right, is there's teams that are just stacking with 9 or 10 district players. So what should be done about this?
I have to give other kids a go, see how other kids do. Because, for example, like let's just say there's a kid named Johnny that didn't make it, but he's very close. They've got, I don't know, Jack that's been playing for like as long as he could be playing districts for. And but Johnny's going to be making centuries and Jack's like making, I don't know, 10 runs. So, they have to give other people a go, see how they do. They might, who knows, they might be the next Australian captain. So, yeah.
What's interesting about districts, right, is they allow longer formats to be played, like 60, 70 overs. So why don't they offer that in clubs so that they can pick players based on their skill rather than their short format batting? There's so much shorter format and so much of retiring and all that, there's just no accurate measurement, don't you reckon?
Yeah, I think they don't do it in club because there's more club teams there's more games to be played. So like one in the morning, one in the afternoon, like that. But if they did do it in club, they would definitely, they should do it, I reckon, but just over a long period of time. So they can see how other people cope with that type of, how you say, environment.
Yeah. Because I kind of find it that doing all these T20s is fun, but I'm not really getting much out of it. I'm just like chipping a ball to mid-on because I have to score runs for my team. And then there's people batting for their averages. So that's the issue with it. And I'm doing the good old morning cricket, which is fun, but it's so annoying waking up. But then do you want to, maybe they should play cricket at night perhaps, What do you think about that?
Yeah. Well, I noticed on the cricket app that they put the club games on. I noticed one of my league's games was played on a Friday night because it's usually in the mornings. They play on a Friday night. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. It wasn't my match, it was a different match. So I reckon they could play more after school games, like they do in footy. Like I play quite a lot of after school games. So if they play more after school games, then they'll definitely be able to fit those 60, 70 over matches in. Yeah. So, but yeah.
Well, I'm going to cut you there. What disappointed me was in my year group, cricket season was finished in early March. There wasn't this playing cricket in March and April. So you could use that sort of time to sort of play those longer games out. And you could maybe combine teams for those longer games. So it could be, these 2 teams and these 2 teams so that those that are playing footy aren't missing their footy stuff. And you just like squeeze in more longer games and whatever. That would work.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they cut it around March because like I would like to do what you just said, but I think they cut it around March because of the weather. Like you can't play cricket on a wet pitch, if you know.
Yeah,
But you can play footy on a wet oval.
yeah.
You know? So I think that's why they cut it early.
That's a good
like that.
point. But usually you could run cricket during April, I think, because it's still 25 degrees and only 4 rainy days. They play cricket in Melbourne in 25 degrees with 8 rainy days a month. So,
Yeah.
I think it would be probably okay in April, but I understand like June, July, August. I've talked to people who've played cricket like exhibition matches in June where it's 25 degrees and sunny, and it's like, how lucky. That's just luck, though. Anyways, that's it for the Australian club cricket system. Thanks for hopping on the podcast. It's been an honour.
Yep.
Hopefully the cricket's
good.
It. Big Bash is going to be a bit interesting. I think it's not marketed well enough, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully more cricket on free to air or something. Shout out to Hazak Sport. Subscribe to their channel.